The Indian subcontinent, a land steeped in history and riven by conflict, stands once again on the brink. On May 7, 2025, the world watched as India launched Operation Sindoor, a series of airstrikes against alleged terrorist camps within Pakistan. This act of retaliation, a response to the devastating terrorist attack in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir, has ignited a firestorm of controversy and pushed the two nuclear-armed neighbors close to war. India and Pakistan, bound by history and divided by partition, have fought three major wars and countless skirmishes since their independence in 1947. The disputed territory of Kashmir remains the primary bone of contention. Both countries claim Kashmir in its entirety, and their rivalry has claimed countless lives and fueled an enduring atmosphere of mistrust and hostility. The international community, deeply concerned by the potential for a catastrophic conflict, has called for restraint and dialogue. As the world holds its breath, the fate of millions hangs in the balance. The serene beauty of Pahalgam, a picturesque town nestled in the Lidar Valley of Jammu and Kashmir, was shattered on April 22, 2025. A cowardly act of terrorism, targeting innocent civilians enjoying a spring afternoon, sent shockwaves through India. 26 souls, men, women and children, their lives brutally cut short, became the latest victims in the seemingly endless cycle of violence. Eyewitness accounts spoke of a sudden explosion followed by a hail of gunfire that transformed a scene of idyllic tranquility into one of carnage and chaos. The attackers, their faces concealed beneath masks, showed no mercy. The streets of Pahalgam, once bustling with life, were now stained with the blood of innocents. The attack, a stark reminder of the ever-present threat of terrorism, sent a wave of grief and anger across India. The government, under intense pressure to act decisively, vowed to avenge the deaths of its citizens and bring the perpetrators to justice. In the aftermath of the Pahalgam attack, the Indian government faced an excruciating dilemma. The nation, united in grief and baying for retribution, demanded swift and decisive action. After days of high-level meetings, India decided to launch Operation Sindoor, a series of targeted airstrikes against alleged terrorist camps within Pakistan. On May 7, 2025, Indian Air Force fighter jets armed with precision-guided munitions crossed the line of control. The targets included training camps, ammunition dumps, and communication centers belonging to terrorist groups that India accused of being behind the Pahalgam attack. The operation, carried out with clinical precision, sent a clear message to Pakistan. India would no longer tolerate its neighbors' support for terrorist groups. The success of Operation Sindoor, however, would ultimately depend on Pakistan's reaction and the international community's response. The news of India's airstrikes inside Pakistan was met with a predictable mix of outrage and denial in Islamabad. The Pakistani government, caught off guard by the audacity of the Indian operation, scrambled to control the narrative. Prime Minister Sharif condemned the strikes as a blatant act of aggression and a flagrant violation of Pakistan's sovereignty. Pakistan denied the presence of any terrorist camps on its soil, claiming that the Indian jets had targeted civilian infrastructure. The Pakistani military claimed to have shot down 2 Indian jets and captured a pilot, claims that were later disputed by India. Videos of burning wreckage, purportedly belonging to the downed Indian aircraft, were circulated on social media, further inflaming passions. The Pakistani government vowed to retaliate at a time and place of its choosing. The international community watched with growing alarm as the crisis threatened to spiral out of control. As tensions with Pakistan escalated, India launched Operation Abhyas, a nationwide civil defense exercise aimed at preparing the country for any eventuality. The operation, the largest of its kind in India's history, was designed to test the country's preparedness for a range of scenarios, from conventional military attacks to nuclear, biological and chemical warfare. Across the country, sirens wailed and loudspeakers blared as millions of citizens participated in mock drills. Schools, colleges and offices were transformed into makeshift shelters, while hospitals conducted mass casualty drills. In major cities, blackout drills plunged entire neighborhoods into darkness as residents practiced seeking shelter and conserving resources. Operation Abhyas was a powerful demonstration of India's resolve and its determination to protect its citizens at all costs. The spectre of war between India and Pakistan, 2 nuclear-armed neighbors, sent shockwaves through the international community. Global powers, acutely aware of the catastrophic consequences of a conflict in South Asia, engaged in frantic diplomatic efforts to defuse the crisis. The United States, balancing its strategic partnership with India with its desire to maintain stability in South Asia, found itself walking a diplomatic tightrope. The UN Security Council called for an immediate cessation of hostilities and urged both India and Pakistan to exercise restraint and engage in dialogue. China, Pakistan's ally, called for restraint from both sides, reflecting its growing economic and strategic ties with New Delhi. Russia offered to mediate between the two sides, leveraging its long-standing relationships with both India and Pakistan. The international community's efforts to mediate faced an uphill battle, with deep-seated mistrust between India and Pakistan making any meaningful dialogue extremely difficult. This territorial dispute has been the root cause of 3 wars and countless skirmishes between the two countries since their independence in 1947. The partition of British India left the fate of Kashmir unresolved. The recent escalation in tensions has once again brought the Kashmir issue to the forefront of international attention. As the dust settles on the latest crisis between India and Pakistan, the future remains shrouded in uncertainty. The two nuclear-armed neighbours, locked in a seemingly intractable conflict, stand at a crossroads. The international community, relieved that an immediate crisis has been averted, faces the daunting task of finding a lasting solution to the Kashmir dispute. Dialogue and diplomacy, however difficult, remain the only viable options. The world watches and hopes. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please like, share and subscribe.